Hi, Tiffany here, Hot Moms Dinner Club. It's time to get ready for the holidays. So I'm going to try to recreate a jam that I had years ago. It was a friend of mine recipe. I'm going to recreate it to the best of my ability using all the flavors I remember that were in it and all the flavors I think of when I think of Christmas and the holidays. The basic jam is a cranberry jam flavored with cherry, orange, amaretto, and then your Christmas spices, cinnamon, nutmeg, clove. First of all, I'm just going to get my fruit here in the big pot. I've already got some cherries in here. These are just dark, sweet, pitted cherries. Make sure you buy pitted so that you don't have to do the pitting. If they aren't pitted, obviously you're going to have to remove the pits in them. But there's 40 ounces of those. And I already had some in my pot already. I'm going to get all this juice out of here. These were frozen, so they've just been sitting here thawing. You can put them in from frozen or thawed, either way. These are fresh cranberries. You can buy frozen cranberries. I just saw these fresh, so I went with the fresh cranberries. 7 cups of fresh cranberries. And in here, I've got my spice mixture. I'm going to dump that in. The cinnamon, the nutmeg, and the clove. I always add a pinch of salt into the jam recipes. It just kind of helps heighten all the flavors that are already in there. This recipe is on the website. You'll be able to get all these measurements on the website, okay? Next, I'm going to put my oranges in. 2 oranges. I've already done one of the oranges, but I wanted to show you how I do this orange. So first of all, just going to zest it like you normally would. The whole exterior of the orange. So I got my orange zested. You can see I got all the zest in there. And took it down to the pith. You don't want to get pith in there. That can be very bitter. To show you how to do these, I'm just going to trim off the end. Take it. This is kind of be similar like to how you might do a cantaloupe or a honeydew. Now you're just going to trim off the side here. You're just trying to take off as much from the exterior as possible. And trim up a little bit if you got some more skin on there. Now you're just going to take in between the veins there. Make sure you don't have any seeds and just drop them down in there. Just making orange segments or supremes. You can also obviously do this with a paring knife. But at any rate, just try and keep all your seeds out and any skin. And you're just putting the pulp of the fruit in here. These orange segments are going in whole, but they will completely break down and just basically disintegrate by the time this is all cooked. Once you got all your segments out, just again, make sure you don't have any seeds in here, and then just squeeze as much of the orange juice out possible. Just going to give that a little bit of a mix, and I'm going to put this on the stove. I'm going to start it on kind of a medium heat. I don't want to burn the bottom. Soon enough water will come out of that fruit that you won't have to worry about scorching the bottom. When you first put it on, you just don't want to put it on too high because you don't want to scorch your fruit. So we're going to get that working. So here I have my cranberry cherry mix on medium heat. And that's going to slowly come up to a boil. And then I'll be getting the pectin mix ready to go. Meanwhile, I've got a big pot of water over here that I've got bringing up to a boil. This is what I'm going to kind of sterilize the jars in before I put the boiling hot jam in them. Also, that will keep your jam jars from possibly breaking whenever you add the jam in. So basically, we're preheating the jam jars and just making sure that they're very clean before we fill them with the jelly. Also, we're going to use the same pot of boiling water. That's what we're going to boil our jam jars in. After we have filled them, we will make sure that once we load them up, they're covered with at least 1 inch of water. The water is at a boil and it boils for 10 minutes. That way you will know that you have killed any bacteria that might be lurking in your jam jars and in your jelly. That will kill any bacteria in there, and then you will have your preserves that you can enjoy for 1 year from the day you made them. On the jam jars, I'm kind of using a hodgepodge of jam jars I had hanging around, and I just made sure that they were dishwasher clean first of all, and then like I said, I'm going to put them in the pot to sterilize and preheat them before I put the hot jam in there. So I'm gonna let this work for a while, and once it starts coming up to a boil, that's when we're gonna get our pectin mix and the rest of our ingredients ready to go. So our jam is almost at a rolling boil, so I'm gonna get our sugar pectin mix ready to go. Got our sugar going in. There's our pectin. I like to mix the two of these together. Then we're going to add our liquid in here. That's going to really help with you not having a lumpy jam. Okay, get those two mixed well. I'm going to add in the orange juice. And I already have the amaretto here ready to go. I'm going to add the water in. Add all of our orange juice and water in here at the same time, and just try to get that stirred very quickly to prevent lumping, and then I'll put the amaretto in and we'll get that in our jam. And remember, all the ingredients and quantities are on the website, so you can just pull that up on your phone or computer, or you can just download the recipe and then you can have that as you're making it for the quantities. Starting to boil a little bit here, so I'm going to start busting up this fruit. I'm not going to blend this or use a stick mixer. I'm just going to let the fruit naturally break down just from the heat and the time that it's cooking, in addition to just kind of busting it up with the whisk. That way you'll have some nice big chunks of fruit in your jam. And then we're going to add in our pectin, sugar, and liquid mix here. We'll bring this all back up to a nice, good rolling boil. Meanwhile, I'm going to make sure my jam jars are ready to go. So I filled our jam jars up within about a 1/4 inch of the top. I'm going to go ahead and put the seals on them. This one didn't get filled all the way up, so this one I'm just going to let cool down and put it directly in the refrigerator. I'm not going to actually boil that one. The rest of them have plenty in here, are plenty full, so we can go ahead and get those closed up. These have to be just tight. You don't have to be super strong with the lids there. We'll start popping those in. I had to add a little bit more water in here to make sure mine were covered up. So I did that. We're going to make sure this comes back up to a boil, and then we're going to clock it for 10 minutes, and then we'll remove them. One thing too you can do before you put your jam in your jars, you can always make sure it's going to set up for you. And you can always add more pectin if needed, or if it's too thick, you can always add some juice into it. Before you jar it up, you're going to want to check your consistency on that. And then here I have that little bit that didn't quite fill up the jam jar. I'm just going to wrap that with plastic once it's cooled down and put it in the fridge, and we'll use this first. So I'm going to let these go for our 10 minutes, and then I'll pull them out and set them here on the towel. I'm going to sit overnight till they cool down, and we'll check them in the morning to make sure they're sealed. Our holiday jam set overnight. All of our seals are nice and tight. You'll want to double check that. You could just kind of push down on there as long as this isn't popping up and down. That means you got a nice tight seal. On these holiday jams, you can always make them for gifts. I did the 3-box batch. You can always do the big batch and jar them up and give them away as gifts. Nice bow on there. Make a nice card. You can actually on the inside put the holiday jam recipe and give it as a nice gift for someone. Or on the website, I will also put a 1 box of pectin version on there as well, in case you want to make it a small batch for you and your family for the holidays. The holiday jam is the cranberry, the cherry, the orange, and all the holiday seasonings in there. So most of the time for the holidays, I just make this big batch of holiday jam. And then I use that for the turkey for Thanksgiving instead of making the cranberry relish. And then I also use it on the baked ham for Christmas because you have your cherry in there as well. So you could use it both for Thanksgiving and Christmas. And of course, anytime in between on biscuits, toast. So there's the holiday jam. Such a beautiful red color, perfect for the holidays. Everyone always loves this jam. Thanks for joining me, Hautemom's Dinner Club.